Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Daysi DIY. Today I'm sharing with you guys an easy Christmas DIYs. I hope you enjoy. If you do, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Thank you so much. For the first project, I'm going to be using a piece of cardboard that I had on hand, and what I did, I just cut it on the shape of the circle. If you guys want, you guys can use just a sign from a Dollar Tree. I know Dollar Tree is carrying now their amazing wood signs and it will work just perfect. And to paint it, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint on color white. I did one coat and I just let it dry. So you guys can see what I did. I just paint this part on the middle of that piece of cardboard. The other parts we're going to be using the craft wash chalkboard paint on color ink. I did one coat, and to cover the white part in the middle, I just grabbed two pieces of the painter's tape so we can have a really clean lines. And once we're done, we're just going to remove the two pieces of the painter's tape. I'm going to be using these stencils that I found at my Walmart. They're really beautiful. I just grabbed two pieces of the painter's tape so we can hold the stencil. And to paint the hat, I'm using the paint on color red that I got from Dollar Tree. First, I did one coat and I just let it dry for a little bit, and I went over and I did a second coat. And to paint the letters, color that I'm using is the Waverly paint on color moss. I first went over and I did one coat and it was a little bit light for me, so I decided to do another coat, and it turned out really beautiful because they were a little bit dark, the letters. And once we're done, we're just going to remove the two pieces of the painter's tape so we can remove the stencil. I decided to do a really thin line, and for that I just grabbed the two pieces of the painter's tape and I used the same color red that I used. And I just want to show you, you guys can create the lines or leave it without the lines, but I think that red lines and make it pop a little bit more the sign. And to distress the sign a little bit more, I just went with the same Rust-Oleum chalk paint and I just used a little bit of the paint. And once it's completely dry, I went over with a piece of the sandpaper and to distress it a little bit more the sign. It turned out amazing. Once you do this, I love it because it shows a little bit more of the cardboard it's under, and it turned out like it's kind of like real wood. And I just create this beautiful bow and I just place it on the top, and I will show you in a minute how I create this beautiful bow. And also I just grabbed two pieces of these pine cones and another pieces just to place it in the middle, and I will show you in a minute. Also, I just put a piece of jute twine all around of the piece of cardboard so it can has a finished look. I just create two side projects to give this effect of the snow. I just use the same paint and it turned out really beautiful once we give this effect of the snow. And this is how it looks, our beautiful sign once we're done. I love the colors, how they blend all together. But please, I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this beautiful sign? Today, I'm taking part in the Thrift collab that is being hosted by the amazing Liyana from Liyana DIY, and her co-host for this month is Jackie from Blye Beyond Measure, and all these talented friends that they're participating with us today. I will leave the link of the playlist and also the link of their channel in my description box below. Thank you so much. For our next project, I'm going to be using 3 pieces of this cardboard that I had on hand, and I'm just going to be creating like cones so we can create this beautiful Christmas tree. I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue this remaining part, and once I was done with my scissors, I just cut the bottom part so it can stand up our Christmas tree. I'm going to be using these yarns that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using this color. You guys can use the colors of your preference. So I just put a little bit of hot glue to glue first the top part. I just start wrapping it around on the piece of cardboard, and I just use a little bit of hot glue just in a few parts so we can hold the yarn. Once I reach the bottom part, I just use a little bit of hot glue to glue the remaining piece of the yarn, and with my scissors I just cut the remaining piece, and I just make sure that it stand up straight my tree. I'm going to be using these Christmas fillers that I got from Dollar Tree last year, and I'm just going to grab a few pieces to place it on the tree. And I did the same step with the other 2 trees, and this is how it looks our project once we're done. They turned out really beautiful. I love the colors, how they blend together. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? For our next project, I'm going to be using this metal container that I had on hand. You guys can use either a sign or a piece of cardboard, and you guys can cut it at the circle shape. And to paint it, I'm using the Restore chalk paint on color white. I did 1 coat and I just let it dry. Also, I decided to paint up the back so it can has a finished look. I'm going to be using this craft white chalkboard paint on color ink, and I'm just using a little bit of this paint to give this enamel chipping effect. And to distress it a little bit more, I'm using the Waverly anti-wax, and once it's completely dry, I just went over with this piece of sandpaper just to remove a little bit of the paint. And once you do that, it turns out really beautiful once you're done distressing it a little bit more with the piece of sandpaper. I'm going to be using this ornament that I got from Dollar General, and here's the item number just in case if you guys need it. I just grabbed a piece of this ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I just create this bow to put it on the middle. And once I was done, I just placed the ornament inside, and I just used 1 pine coin to put it in the middle. I just used the same paints to distress a little bit the ornament, and this is how it looks our project once we're done. It turned out really adorable. I love it, but please let me know what do you guys think. For our next DIY, I'm going to be using the other side of the piece of cardboard, and to paint it, I'm going to be using the Restore chalk paint on color white. I did 1 coat and I just let it dry, and I just want to show you the way that I painted. I didn't cover it all the way because I want the cardboard to show a little bit so we can give this effect that it's wood. The next thing we're doing, we're gonna create lines, and for that I just grab my pencil and my ruler and I just create a few lines. I always love to mark my lines twice so they can be a little bit dark, and once we're done, we're just gonna be distressing a little bit of the lines. I'm gonna be using another beautiful stencil, and I just grabbed 2 pieces of the painter's tape so we can hold it in place. And to paint the letters, I'm using this beautiful color red, and I just did first 1 coat, and once it's a little bit dry, I went over and did a second coat so they can be a little bit dark the color. And to paint the leaves, I used the Waverly paint on color mask. I did 1 coat, and to paint the berries, I used the same paint on color red, and I did 2 coats. And once we're done, we're just gonna remove the piece of painter's tape, and we're gonna remove the stencil. And once it's completely dry, I grab a piece of sandpaper and I just went over on the top to distress a little bit the letters and also all around the leaves. And I went over with a Waverly anti-wax just to distress it a little bit on the edges. I'm really sorry, I lost the footage. And here's the part where I show you that I grabbed 1 piece of this jute cord and I just place it all around so it can has a finished look. And once I was covering all around the sign with the remaining piece, I just tried to create like a hanger so we can hang this beautiful sign. And with my scissors, I just cut it, and with hot glue, I just hold it in place the other piece. It turned out really beautiful how we create this beautiful hanger. And here's the part where I'm gonna show you how I create this beautiful bow. I just grab this piece of burlap ribbon and I grab a piece of jute twine and I just wrap it so we can give the shape of the bow. And I grab another piece of ribbon and I just create a simple bow, and I just use hot glue to put the 2 pieces together, and it turned out really beautiful, the bow. And I did the same step with the other one because I create 2 side projects. And once we're done, I'm gonna be placing it on the top, and I just use a little bit of hot glue just to glue it. And I decide to use another beautiful pine cones to place it on the top, and I grab 1 piece of these red berries and I just place it in the middle. And to give this effect that they have snow, I just use the same paint, and it turned out really beautiful once we give this effect of the snow. I love it. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. It turned out really beautiful, this other side of the sign. But if you guys have a favorite, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm gonna be using this box that I had on hand. It's just a plain box and I think it's really beautiful. So to paint it, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. I did 1 coat and I just let it dry. Also, I decided to paint the edges so it can has a finished look. The next thing, I'm gonna be using these wood stickers, and I'm just gonna be using these candy canes. And to paint it, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. I did 1 coat and I just let it dry. So this is how it looks once they're completely dry. So the next thing, I'm going to be using this apple barrel in color red to paint it. I'm going to guide from the lines that it had the wood stickers, and I just did 1 coat and I just let it dry. Also, I did the same step with the other one. The next thing, I'm gonna be using this craft white chalkboard paint on color ink, and I'm just gonna be painting inside of the bow, and I just did one coat and I just let it dry. Also, with the same paint, I decided to distress the edges of the box, and I'm just using this small brush that I got from Dollar Tree, and also I'm just using my finger to distress it a little bit more. The other thing that I decided to do to create lines, so my box it measures 4 inches, so every inch I just mark my line, and once I'm done I just connect the lines, and once I was done connecting the line, to distress it I'm just using my finger. The next thing, I'm gonna be using these stickers, and I'm just gonna be spelling the word 5 cents candy cane. So I'm just gonna guide from the lines that we just create to put my letters, and this is how it looks once you're done. So the other thing, to create the cents, I just use the C and I just use the I, and I just cut it on half the I so it can be a little bit short. So once I was done, I used a little bit of my Podge to seal the letters. I'm gonna be using this diamond wrap, and I just cut a small piece to put it right here in the middle. So once we're done, we're just gonna place that 2 candy canes this way, and I just use a little bit of hot glue. The other thing that I decided to do, I used a few pieces of the greenery and also this berry, and I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue it. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. I think it turned out really beautiful. I just love it. If you guys don't have this box, I'm so sure that you can recreate this project with something from Dollar Tree. For the next project, I'm gonna be using a few pieces of these woods that I had on hand. I just have this one a little bit bigger and the other one they're a little bit smaller. And to paint it, I'm using the Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax, and I'm just using a small piece of this bad sponge to paint it. I did one coat and I just let it dry. The next thing, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white to paint the small piece, and I just did one coat and I just let it dry. I'm going to use this apple barrel in color red to paint the last piece of wood, and I just did one coat and I just let it dry. Also, I'm going to be using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white to distress it a little bit. So I'm just using a little bit of paint. I just distress it at the way that I want it. So once it's completely dry, I'm going to be using this sandpaper to distress it a little bit. And once I was done, I just used a small piece of paper towel just to clean it. So the next thing, I'm going to be using this ribbon that I got from Amazon, and I just cut a small piece at the side that I needed, and I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue it. Also, I just create this small bow to put it right here in the middle. I'm going to be using a few pieces of this greenery and this berry to put it right here. And I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to glue everything. The next thing, I'm going to be using this rub-on transfer stickers, and I'm just going to be placing it this way. So with this little thing that I got from Dollar Tree, I'm just going to be scratching the letters. And once it was done, I just removed the plastic from the top. I'm gonna be using this Mod Podge to do one coat so we can seal our letters. I'm gonna be using these beautiful metal stickers that I have on hand, and I'm just gonna be using this beautiful to place it right here in the middle. And I just use a little bit of hot glue to glue it. And with the last piece, I'm going to do the same step. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. I just want to show you how it looks if you want to just create one piece, if you want to recreate the 3 pieces, how they look all together. Please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? I'm gonna be using one ornament, and I have this beautiful ornament from last year, and to paint the edges I'm just using the craft white chalkboard paint. I did one coat and I just let it dry, and once it's completely dry I just went over with a piece of sandpaper just to remove a little bit of the paint because I want the wood to show a little bit. And to glue the ornament I'm gonna be just using hot glue, but if you guys want a strong hold I would recommend you guys to use X6000. And I'm just placing it on the other side of the metal container that we just did on the other project, and I just create another beautiful bow and also this raffia bow, and I just put it on the top. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. It turned out really adorable, this 2-side project. I love it. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? For the next project, I'm gonna be using the other side of the box that I just showed you on the first project. So to paint it, I'm using the Restore chalkboard paint on color white. I did one coat and I just let it dry. So the next thing, I'm gonna create lines, and for that, my box and measure 4 inches. So every inch, I just mark my lines, and once I was done, I just connect the lines and I just mark the lines twice so they can be a little bit dark. And once I'm done creating the lines, I'm going to be using my finger to distress all the lines. I'm going to use a small piece of this gift wrap that I have on hand, and also I'm using this wood tree, and I'm just going to use it as a template to cut a few trees. And once I'm done, I'm just going to use my scissors to cut it. In total, I just cut 3 trees. And once I'm done cutting the trees, I'm just gonna place it in the bottom. Also, I'm using these stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna guide from the lines that we just create to put our letters. I'm gonna be spelling the word Merry Christmas. So once I'm done, I'm gonna be using this Mod Podge. So I just did one coat and I just put the trees, and I did the same step with the other ones. And once I'm done, I'm just gonna be doing another coat of Mod Podge on the top so we can seal everything. Also, I'm gonna be using this ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna be creating a small bow. The other thing that I did with this diamond wrap, I just cut a small piece to put it right here in the middle of the bow, and I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue it. So the other thing, I'm gonna be using a few pieces of the greenery and also these fillers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna use a little bit of hot glue to glue everything. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. I think it turned out really beautiful, but please let me know in the comments down below, with all the projects that I create today, which one it was your favorite? And please don't forget to see all the videos of these talented friends who are participating today. Thank you very much, Liyana, for hosting this wonderful collab. So that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time that I upload new video. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.